Hi everyone. My name is Mrs. Rarick and I'm the instrumental music teacher at Ramos and Hayes. I'm here today with the other instrumental teachers to talk about you playing an instrument in band or orchestra this year. Right now, the other instrumental teachers are going to go around and introduce themselves to you so that you know which teacher teaches at your school.
Hi everybody, I am Mr. DeSimone. I work at Washington Elementary, Central Elementary, Muhlenberg Elementary, and Union Terrace Elementary. Looking forward to seeing you all this year for a great time.
My name is Mr. Buselitz. I teach at Sheridan, Moser, and Ritter schools, and they are mainly all the schools on the east side of Allentown.
Hi everyone, my name is Ms. Stewart. I am the instrumental music teacher at Dodd Elementary, Roosevelt, Jefferson, and Lehigh Parkway Elementary Schools. There's a lot of things we want to talk to you all about in terms of taking lessons, but first we want to show you all the instruments you have to choose from. Enjoy! This is the clarinet, a member of the woodwind family. As you can see, it has a lot of keys and a lot of buttons, and it can play all kinds of notes. It can play low notes, and it can play high notes.
So the flute is another member of the woodwind family, along with the clarinet and the saxophone. The flute is one of the highest sounding instruments. It has a very bright and clear sound, and because it plays up high, you can usually hear the flute over the other instruments of the band or orchestra. So I'm going to play the flute for you right now so you can see how it works and also hear how it sounds.
I'm here to show you the saxophone. The saxophone is a member of the woodwind family, and that's because on top we have a wooden reed that makes sound in the mouthpiece. This instrument is a lot like flute because its fingerings are the same as flute. Also, you will all know recorder because you played recorder, some of you, last year, and recorder has the same fingerings as the saxophone and the flute, okay? So it's not a very complicated instrument. I'm gonna play for you a song that's in the book, and I hope you like it. You'll recognize it, I think.
This is the trumpet. It's part of the brass family of instruments, and it has quite a range of pitches it can play from low to high. In the lower part of its range, it sounds like this. And in the higher part of its range, like this. The trumpet.
This is the French horn. It's a member of the brass family. This is what it looks like. It's a very beautiful instrument, so here's a little bit of what it sounds like.
I'm going to show you the trombone, okay? The trombone is a member of the brass family, and it's unique to all other instruments because of one thing, and you probably know it, but it's the slide. This slide goes in and out, and it creates the different notes of the trombone. The trombone can play can slide to different notes. Okay? We have a mouthpiece, and the mouthpiece, you buzz on the mouthpiece. We can play, we play in the lower sections of the band. Play down there.
This is the violin. It's the smallest and highest sounding instrument in our string family. It has 4 strings, and I can pluck those with my finger. They'll sound like this. I can also run my bow across those strings, and it will cause those strings to vibrate. And if I introduce my fingers to the fingerboard here, pinching down on the strings as I play, it'll change the pitch of each string as well. And if I play those fingers in patterns, I can come up with songs.
Cello. The cello is one of the larger instruments of the string family. And so the larger an instrument is, the lower it's going to sound. When I play this cello for you, you're going to hear a really deep, rich, beautiful low tone. Just like the violin, you can play the cello by plucking the strings with your fingers or by using your bow. So I'm going to show you how both of those sound. First, we'll pluck. The same thing using my bow.
Well, that's what the instruments sound like when they're played by themselves. But one of the cool things about music is we can play these instruments together and create a totally different sound. Here's what some of the instruments sound like together.
So we're going to talk about what a lesson will look like with your teacher. Because of our situation and because of COVID, we're going to be totally online. And so that means that our lessons are being taught on Zoom. Now, you all are with your teacher most of the day on Zoom. So all you're going to do, when it's your time, we'll assign you a time with for your lesson. You're going to get off the Zoom with your teacher and get on the Zoom with us. There will be a code that you'll get from your instrumental teacher. And when you're there, we will go over in our half-hour period of time the book that you'll see. We have a book that we work out of, and we'll do certain activities in the book. We'll do warm-ups, we'll do activities, and then at the end of the lesson, you will get things to do for the next week. Just like you would in your math class or your reading class, we will assign you things to do for the next week. And from there, when we're done with the lesson, you will go back onto your lesson with your teacher, with your regular teacher, to finish out your day with them.
So, like Mr. DeSimone pointed out, there are going to be things that you need to practice from week to week before you come back for your next lesson. So we're going to talk a little bit about the responsibility of playing an instrument. We really want you to be able to progress and grow. And so that means you have to practice on your own every day. That's a lot. So you need to really think about, is this something I can put this extra time and effort into? And believe me, it's definitely worth it. There's also the responsibility of taking care of your instrument. Most instruments are delicate, so you need to make sure that you pay attention when we show you how to put your instrument together, and that you're very careful with it and responsible, keeping it away from maybe some younger siblings who might get into it, or animals, or leaving it somewhere. That instrument becomes your responsibility. The final thing that you're responsible for is coming to your lesson. Whether we're in school or we're on Zoom, your teachers are waiting for you and looking forward to having you in lesson. When you miss a lesson, it sets you behind a week, and that really stinks, and sometimes it can be really hard to catch up. So that's the type of personal responsibility we're looking for students who want to join band and orchestra.
So, you've heard the instruments, you've thought about, is this a responsibility I'd like to take on? And if the answer to that question is yes, if you're still excited about playing a musical instrument, the next step is to get an instrument into your hands. Now, there's a couple ways to do that, but the easiest way to accomplish getting an instrument in your hands is to rent one. Musical instruments can be very expensive, so to buy one outright, not very easy to do. We do work with a company called Zeswitz Music, and they've helped us for many years get instruments into our students' hands so that they can learn to play music. And they have a rental process which allows you to pay a small price per month for renting that instrument. And you might say, well, why do I want to pay a little every month to rent an instrument when I can just pay and buy it and now it's mine? Well, here's the most important answer to that question. If anything ever happens to an instrument that you're renting from Zeswitz Music, if you accidentally drop it, something happens to it and it breaks or it's damaged, they will replace that instrument or repair that instrument for you. So it's like having an instrument and an insurance policy at the same time. If you own an instrument and something happens to it, you've got to pay for it to be fixed. And instrument repairs can cost hundreds of dollars. We've always recommended to our students that the best way to begin is to rent an instrument. Just say you play an instrument for 5 or 6 months or for a year and you decide, I think I'd like to change to a different instrument. I've enjoyed learning the violin maybe, but now I want to move to the flute. With renting from Zeswitz, you can do that with a phone call. You call them, they will bring a flute to you and pick up your violin, and you can make that switch very easily. If you owned that violin, you'd have to keep it and then buy a flute. It's a much harder process to go through. So we sincerely recommend to you renting an instrument through Zeswitz Music because it makes the process a lot easier for you.
And now you're probably thinking to yourselves, well, why do I even want to play an instrument in the first place? Well, They all sound really cool. They've all got their own unique qualities, just like you all do. And most importantly, it is so much fun. I know right now we're over Zoom, but your lessons are going to be group lessons either during Zoom or when we go back to school in person, which means you get to play with your friends. You get to make music as a group instead of just as an individual. The Allentown City has the opportunity to do the all-city band and all-city orchestra, which you have the opportunity to be a part of once we are out of COVID times. And once you leave the elementary school and go through the middle and the high school, you have so many more options of ensembles to play in, like full band and full orchestra groups, marching band. You even have out-of-district options to choose from, festivals to audition for, that will give you the opportunity to play with lots of other people that you've never even met.
So now you have a great idea of what we're going to look for, how we're going to start people, what the lessons are going to be like, and some idea about renting. The next step, everyone, is that we're going to have a webinar. And the webinar is going to be for your parents to come, or your guardian, to come and listen to us talk about the program, and also to listen to our representative from Zeswitz Music talk about renting. There, they will learn how to do the rental process, which can be done on your phone. You don't have to be in person. It can be done on the phone. And that way we can work towards getting schedules made and things like that and knowing what's happening. And I'll guarantee you, if you join and you give your time and you do your work, you're going to love what you do. And it's going to take you all the way through high school, into college. You're going to be able to play forever. So we hope to see you. We hope that you guys are going to be with us. And thank you for checking out what we had to say.
We've talked about a lot of important things today, but there are a few things we really want you to remember after having watched this video. If you're wondering who can play what instrument, 3rd grade students can choose any string instrument they wish. 4th and 5th grade students can choose any string or any band instrument. If you already play and you want to switch instruments, you can do that too. If you're wondering who your school's instrumental music teacher is, feel free to pause this video at this time to read through each school and which teacher works at that school. Each teacher's email has been provided in case you want to reach out to them with any questions. And finally, if you're wondering how your parents can learn more, please have them attend our live webinar on Wednesday, November 18th at 6:30 p.m. to learn more about renting and taking lessons. A link for the webinar will be sent to your classroom teachers and will also be pushed out on your school's class dojo. Thank you.